Then there was the the first dozen dames that help him before the time of war, and then there was the dozen local gals turned into a little black book of over 125, and you don't remember all the names for it. You can count up maybe three quarters hundred. And partners quickly faded out. When he slams his foot on the ground, something like 6 years ago now, and says, "Gone aren't the days the lady says please." And someone will ask me out for sure. I mean, someone's bound to remember, and I'm not dead here. I might be left for proverbial death, in my own backyard, or somewhere around Tiny Town, built by man made from mice, Oh boy, yeah, or something similar to it. But yeah, he got no scratch on the bedpost 5 years, give or take a season. And then, well, the opposite gender, which is obviously smarter, says biblical scripture of the neo-Native American American folklore, folk music. The written words of possibly Robert Hunter. This is um, the women are smarter, is what they say. This is literally, technically, and we're not sure if that's some kind of pun or some kind of joke, as far as the men scorned by the wrath of it's that time of the month, three weeks a month, and I'm just too busy shopping and spending someone else's money the other weeks. Is 5 years, not one scratch on the bedpost, not one of the first dozen dames, not one of the 125 locals closer to my age, not one of the 11 celebrities, which turns to 12 or 13 when I finally counted up. Is Jennifer Midland and Jessica Midland separate people? When I knew them, did they think they were separate people, or they were just too stoned to tell each other apart? And that was before money was an idea. Never mind, if she even still today can recognize the difference between fingers and toes, or if she's a body at all. And another slander toward GDP mainstream, such as Keelan. If you were one of her 3,000 friends on Facebook, who is that strange guy, and why does it look like y'all do it barback, and buck, quite often for how many couple years now? How many groups of couple years now as those two? I mean, he's just some random stranger that's not nothing. And the last thing I want to talk about is the ones that got handsy whilst they were younger. One of them might be the big old stiffu towards Drew, with her life in pseudo crime, or as close as it gets to being a straight up hooker. Apparently it's still on the books and legal, but yeah, I just clicked likes on channel Triple X a couple hours ago, I think. The thing is another PSA is I'd like to do is I've been getting up and out of bed and on my feet and holding post in some kind of regiment once every 24 hours, eating a script. For reasons I don't have tangible documentation, or documents, paperwork for on my person, or accessible to my person even. It's held by some kind of management, some kind of administration, some kind of expensive powers that be beyond my arm reach, beyond a 10-foot pole, um, behind bulletproof glass in some kind of Switzerland safe house, as far as I know. Um, One every 24 hours. For a couple of years, it was one every 12 hours, with 30 milligram administered once a week, and it was 12 milligram one every 12 hours. It's been maximum dosage antipsychotic sedative. I'm treated as if I've done something kind of atrocity that I have just narrowly escaped 25 years in prison for, with a 10 to 15 at home rehabilitation. But there's no mental classes. They tell me all this sorts of amazing stuff when I sit down with professionals, administrations, about my person, about my family, like the race and royalty, about my, major accomplishments, hiking to the top of the White Mountains, or what is it, Katahdin, just barely a step away from a wingsuit, yet you're walking off a ledge that big, longboarding between 65 and 100 miles an hour, um, etc. Says riflery accomplishments, submarine accomplishments, a qualified youth, but everything comes up to halt, at 18 and a half. It's been 11 years, it's the anniversary now, just about, give or take a week. And I'm still on a prescription. It's been like 2 hours since Vraylar 4.5s, and I haven't even gotten through a month of 4.5s yet. It was 6 milligrams for close to 400 days, which is the maximum dose. And that's to wean me off the 8 milligram risperidone I was on for maybe a half year, to wean me off the 12 milligram risperidone that I was on for, the remainder of 11 years. You take that time and you count it backwards and what's in the most I have now is I can start with a little bit of good loving. We'll do some improv. We'll get into Friend of the Devil, and then bounce out with rhythm lead bearers. Those medications I don't recommend. I've been kicking and screaming about them every day of my life, and asking why. Something like um, I'm reading. It was a book. It was a good book. It's kind of like Ezekiel on the Mountaintop, or I'm thinking non-denominational coexist kind of. There's a different version of the story in every, and I gave up. But I'm still trucking on. Sha 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 sha.